Friends, after a woman's husband passed away, leaving her a widow, you'll be shocked to find out what her son did next. It's a story of struggle, compassion, and an unexpected turn of events. You won't believe what happened. Once upon a time, there was a 14-year-old boy named Zane who lived with his mother and older sister in a modest 3-story house. The house was built by his father, who had worked in a private company. His father passed away unexpectedly 5 years ago at the young age of 30. He was the breadwinner of the family, and his sudden death created a vacuum that would never be filled. Zane's mother was only 25 years old when her husband died. At such a young age, she found herself alone, struggling to provide for her children. The pain of losing her husband was overwhelming, but the financial burden was even more crushing. The company where Zane's father worked provided them with only 300,000 taka, approximately $3,000, which was far from enough to sustain them for long. And unfortunately, none of their relatives or friends came forward to offer any support. They say that in times of hardship, even relatives become strangers, and that's exactly what happened to Zane's family. Once surrounded by people, they now found themselves isolated. Everyone went on with their own lives, and no one cared to check on them. Zane's mother, who had always been a loving and caring wife, now found herself in a new and unfamiliar role. With no one else to turn to, she became the sole caretaker of her family. She spent her days grieving and her nights worrying about how to feed her children. She spent all her time at home, trying to make ends meet. Despite her best efforts, the money her husband had left behind was quickly running out. As time passed, the financial strain became unbearable. They were unable to pay the bills, and food was becoming scarce. Zane's mother did everything she could to save money. She cut down on expenses, sold whatever little they had, and tried to make the best of their dire situation. But even with all her sacrifices, the money was gone within 10 months. With no other options left, Zane's mother made a difficult decision. She would have to leave the house and find work to support her children. As Zane's mother ventured out into the world to find work, she faced the harsh reality of a woman alone, struggling to support 2 children. She first found a job as a maid in one house. The pay was minimal, but it was a start. She continued her search and soon managed to secure 2 more cleaning jobs. With 3 jobs, she earned a total of 13,000 taka a month. Though it was barely enough to cover their daily expenses, Zane's mother persevered. However, even with this small income, life was still difficult. Bills had to be paid, the rent had to be covered, and the children's needs had to be met. The pressure was immense. Half of her income was spent on sending Zane and his sister to school and buying them small necessities, leaving her with very little to get by. Zane, on the other hand, was doing his best to stay focused on his education. Despite the constant worry over food and money at home, he tried not to let it affect his studies. But soon, the weight of hunger and stress took a toll on him. For 2 days, Zane hadn't eaten anything. His body grew weak, and he couldn't focus. His stomach ached, and he felt lightheaded. He drank only water to keep himself going, hoping it would provide some relief. Yet, as he sat in class, he felt his energy draining away. His vision blurred, and everything around him seemed to be fading into darkness. Zane's teacher, Ryan, noticed the change in him. He saw the pale, weak boy struggling to stay awake and wondered what was wrong. Concerned, Ryan approached him and gently asked, "What's wrong with you, Zane? Are you feeling all right?" Zane, with great difficulty, opened his eyes and replied, "Yes, sir, I'm fine." But Ryan wasn't convinced. He could see that Zane was far from fine. He insisted, "Tell me what's really going on. You don't look okay." Zane hesitated, but after a few moments he admitted, "We have no food at home. We haven't eaten for 2 days. I'm not feeling well." Ryan's heart sank upon hearing this. He could see how much Zane was suffering. Without a second thought, he stood up, guided Zane to the staff room, and immediately asked the school's watchman to go to the market. Ryan handed him some money and told him, quickly, "Bring something for Zane to eat." The watchman rushed to the market. Within minutes, he returned with a burger and a cold drink. Ryan handed the food to Zane. Zane said kindly, "Here, eat this. You need to recover your strength." Zane hesitated at first, but the moment he bit into the burger and drank the cold drink, he began to feel better. His head cleared, and he felt the energy slowly returning to his body. His vision, once clouded, now seemed clear, and for the first time in days, Zain felt something resembling normalcy. Ryan, still worried but relieved to see Zain improving, asked, "How do you feel now?" Zain nodded weakly, his face finally showing a sign of relief. "I'm better, sir, thank you," he whispered. Ryan smiled warmly. "Good, now go back to class, and after school I want you to come see me in my office." As the school bell rang to mark the end of the day, Zain walked toward Ryan's office, still feeling a bit weak but now able to think clearly. When he arrived, Ryan was waiting for him. "Don't worry, Zain, I'm going to help you," Ryan said as he stood up. He took Zain gently by the shoulder and walked him toward his bike. "Come on, I'll take you to the market." Ryan rode his bike with Zain sitting behind him, and together they went to the market. Ryan bought everything Zain's family needed: flour, rice, lentils, sugar, and other essentials. But he didn't stop there. Ryan took the groceries directly to Zain's home. When they arrived, Zain's mother wasn't there yet. She worked late into the night cleaning houses, often returning home in the early hours of the morning. Ryan placed the groceries neatly in the kitchen and then turned to Zain. "Don't worry about anything now. From now on, I'll make sure your family has everything they need. I'll bring food every month so you can focus on your studies and not have to worry about where your next meal is coming from." Zain felt a deep sense of relief wash over him. He had never imagined that someone outside his family would care so much. Ryan's kindness was like a beacon of light during the darkest time of his life. Before leaving, Ryan turned to Zain once more and said, "I know things are tough right now, but focus on your education. It's the key to a better future. I'll make sure the rest is taken care of." Ryan's intervention was not a one-time gesture. He kept his promise to Zain and his family. Every month, without fail, Ryan would send groceries to their home. Zain's mother couldn't believe the kindness of this man, who wasn't even a close relative. Despite his modest salary, Ryan continued to help without ever asking for anything in return. He often visited Zain's house, making sure that the family had enough food to get through the month. But Ryan's support didn't stop just at providing food. One day when Zain's mother came home, she was stunned to see a fully stocked kitchen. Groceries neatly arranged, every basic necessity accounted for. She asked in disbelief, "How did all this get here?" Zain, who was sitting nearby, explained quietly, "It was Sir Ryan. He's been sending these groceries every month. He even spoke to the school administration and got my 3 months of unpaid tuition fees waived." Upon hearing this, Zain's mother broke down in tears. She couldn't believe that someone who had no obligation to them would go so far to help. Ryan's selflessness overwhelmed her, and with a trembling voice, she prayed for his well-being. Thankful for the immense help he had provided during their most difficult times, Ryan's actions went beyond what most people would ever do. He took a real interest in Zain's future. He knew that the only way Zain and his family could escape poverty was through education. Ryan encouraged Zain to focus solely on his studies and promised that he would always be there for him. Despite the hardships, Zain's mother was incredibly grateful. But deep in Zain, she couldn't help feeling guilty that she wasn't able to repay Ryan for his kindness. However, Ryan, always humble, assured her, "You don't need to thank me. Consider me your brother. Helping you is the least I can do. You and Zain are like family to me." While Zain's mother worked tirelessly to make ends meet, Ryan's regular support ensured that they never had to worry about food again. Over time, Zain's mother felt a sense of peace, knowing that someone cared for them and that her children would not go hungry. As the months passed, Zain focused on his studies with renewed determination. He became more motivated than ever to succeed, inspired by Ryan's selfless help. Zain began to dream of a better life, a life where he could someday repay his teacher for everything he had done. Despite all the struggles, Zain's schoolwork improved remarkably. He worked diligently and began to excel in his classes. His teachers noticed the change. The weak, distracted boy who once struggled to stay awake was now attentive, focused, and full of hope. He took Zain gently by the shoulder and walked him toward his bike. "Come on, I'll take you to the market." Ryan rode his bike with Zain sitting behind him, and together they went to the market. Rayyan bought everything Zain's family needed: flour, rice, lentils, sugar, and other essentials. But he didn't stop there. Rayyan took the groceries directly to Zain's home. When they arrived, Zain's mother wasn't there yet. She worked late into the night cleaning houses, often returning home in the early hours of the morning. Rayyan placed the groceries neatly in the kitchen and then turned to Zain. "Don't worry about anything now. From now on, I'll make sure your family has everything they need. I'll bring food every month so you can focus on your studies and not have to worry about where your next meal is coming from." Zain felt a deep sense of relief wash over him. He had never imagined that someone outside his family would care so much. Rayyan's kindness was like a beacon of light during the darkest time of his life. Before leaving, Rayyan turned to Zain once more and said, "I know things are tough right now, but focus on your education. It's the key to a better future. I'll make sure the rest is taken care of." Rayyan's intervention was not a one-time gesture. He kept his promise to Zain and his family. Every month, without fail, Rayyan would send groceries to their home. Zain's mother couldn't believe the kindness of this man, who wasn't even a close relative. Despite his modest salary, Rayyan continued to help without ever asking for anything in return. He often visited Zain's house, making sure that the family had enough food to get through the month. But Rayyan's support didn't stop just at providing food. One day when Zain's mother came home, she was stunned to see a fully stocked kitchen. Groceries neatly arranged, every basic necessity accounted for. She asked in disbelief, "How did all this get here?" The day Zain left for his studies abroad, his mother and sister stood by his Zain, tears streaming down their faces. Zain hugged them tightly, promising that he would work hard and make them proud. As he boarded the plane, he couldn't help but reflect on how far he had come, from a boy struggling to survive to a young man with a bright future ahead of him. After a long flight, Zain finally landed in the new country. The university had arranged everything. His food, accommodation, and all his expenses were taken care of. Zain was overwhelmed with gratitude. He knew he was standing at the threshold of a new life, and it was all thanks to the support of people like Rayyan. Settling into his new life, Zain never forgot about his family back home. The scholarship not only covered all his expenses, but also provided him with extra money, which he sent back to his mother every month. He knew she was still working hard to support herself and his sister, and he wanted to make sure they were taken care of. Zain encouraged his mother to stop working as a maid, telling her that he could now support her. He wanted her to finally rest and enjoy the fruits of her labor. Zain's life was finally beginning to turn around. He felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility to take care of the family that had sacrificed so much for him. Over time, Zain's financial situation improved even further. He secured a part-time job while studying, and the money he earned helped him send even more support back home. His hard work paid off. His mother, who had once struggled to feed her children, now had the means to live a more comfortable life. She used the money Zain sent to renovate their home, buying new furniture and making their modest house into a real home. The family's life, once filled with worry and hardship, was now filled with hope and promise. Interestingly, the relatives who had once ignored Zain's family, the ones who never checked on them during tough times, suddenly began to appear at their doorstep. They came with smiles and offers of help, acting as if they had always been there. Zain didn't hold any grudges, but he couldn't help noticing how quickly people's attitudes changed once success entered their lives. Meanwhile, Zain's sister finished her studies, and the family began looking forward to the future with excitement. Zain's success had become a beacon of hope for them all, filling them with pride and inspiration. As the years went by, Zain's hard work bore fruit in ways he could never have dreamed of. He successfully completed his degree and received a job offer from a prestigious company in Pakistan. The offer came with a starting salary of 4 lakh taka, a sum that had once seemed unimaginable during his childhood. Zain was overjoyed. It was a testament to all the sacrifices he and his family had made and to the power of perseverance. Before leaving for Pakistan, Zain went shopping for gifts for his mother and sister. He wanted to show them how much they meant to him. The day he left was an emotional one. his mother held him tightly, kissed him on the forehead, her eyes glistening with tears of joy. She had seen her son go from struggling to survive to becoming a successful young man with a bright future. It was a dream come true for both of them. Zain's first day at his new job as a general manager was overwhelming. As he sat at his desk, taking in the gravity of his new position and the responsibilities that came with it, he couldn't help but think of Rayyan. It was Rayyan who had given him the chance to succeed, who had helped him when he was at his lowest point. Without Rayyan's kindness and unwavering support, Zain knew none of this would have been possible. Rayyan had not only helped Zain with food and tuition fees, but had also instilled in him the belief that no matter how difficult life became, education would always be the key to overcoming adversity. Zain owed everything he had to that one act of kindness. As he sat there lost in thought, Zain realized he had to find Rayyan and express his gratitude. He immediately arranged for his office car to take him to the school where Rayyan had once taught him. When he arrived, he learned that Rayyan had left the school a year ago. A sense of urgency filled him. He needed to find Rayyan and thank him properly. After some searching, Zain managed to get Rayyan's address. He arrived at Rayyan's house with fruits and sweets, hoping to show his gratitude. But when he saw Rayyan, he was shocked. The once energetic and lively teacher now looked weak and frail. The man who had once helped Zain in his darkest hour was now in need of help himself. Rayyan had been tutoring students to make ends meet, but the years had clearly taken a toll on him. Zain was deeply concerned. He immediately arranged for Rayyan to receive medical treatment and started sending food and supplies to his home every day. Zain wanted to ensure that Rayyan and his family were well taken care of, just as Rayyan had once done for him and his family. Gradually, Rayyan's health began to improve, and he regained his strength. Zain's mother, who had already developed a close bond with Rayyan's daughter, visited their home frequently. Rayyan's daughter, a bright young woman who had recently graduated, impressed Zain's mother greatly. Soon, Zain's family proposed that Rayyan's daughter marry Zain. Rayyan, seeing how his daughter was treated with respect and care by Zain's family, happily agreed to the match. The man who had once offered help now found himself receiving it in return. Rayyan felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude to God for bringing Zain into his life. Rayyan's kindness, planted like a small seed so many years ago, had blossomed into a lifelong bond of love, respect,